Hey everyone. I'm going to wait just a few minutes for the emails to go out and for a couple of more people to hop in, and then we will get started. If you are watching this live, say hello over on the chat box to the right of this video, and tell me where you're from and how I can connect with you, because I like following you guys on like Twitter and Instagram and all that good stuff. So just give me a link I can find you at. And there will be a recording of this. You can come back to this page at any time, and you can rewatch this video at any time. And if you're watching this video as a recording, down below in the little questions and topics, when I start talking about a certain topic, I will click on that, so that way you guys can jump to different sections of the video. You don't have to watch the whole thing. If you guys can hear and see me, will you say something in the chat box so that way I know it's working? I know there's a pretty big delay. Let's see. Okay. I'm not sure if this is working because I'm looking at it. And I don't see my own video, so that's not good. Let's see. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So that is working. Alright, so there's a few of you guys in here now. I guess I will go ahead and get started. Again, there will be a recording of this. So I am going to talk today about Canva for work. They just launched it. You do get a free trial if you sign up. I think it's 2 or 3 months. Or you can just use the free Canva. They're basically the same thing, so I'm going to kind of show you both of those. I'm going to show you how to use Pixlr, which is another photo editor I absolutely love. It's kind of like an alternative to Photoshop. And I'm going to show you a couple places where you can get some free and some high quality stock photos. And my sister's walking around in the background, so don't mind her. And we're waiting for 2 other people to get to my apartment. So I apologize in advance. You hear my dog freaking out and chaos erupts. It means that they are here. Okay, so if you guys have any questions at all during this video, ask me down below the video. That way I can answer it a little easier. It's a little simpler to answer it down there. And say hello in the little chat box. Alright, so we're going to start with where to find free stock photos. You can get stock photos from all around the web. You need to make sure that if you're using it, you are using it properly and you're giving people the proper credit and you're not using the photo in a way that it was not meant to be used. If you buy a photo from somewhere like Etsy or Creative Market, you can purchase that photo and you will have a little link right under the buy button. It says what the licensing is, and it tells you exactly how you're allowed to use it, how you're not allowed to use it, and what you can use it for. If you want really good stock photos that no one else has, buy them from Etsy or Creative Market, or take your own photos, which is even better. But I know that a lot of times it's not an option, especially when you're just getting started with a site or a blog. You kind of want some easier photos to use. So there are a ton, and when I say ton, I mean hundreds of websites where you can get free stock photos or get stock photos delivered right to your email. If you search Pinterest for free stock photos, there are entire posts about just lists of places where you can get free stock photos. So I'm not going to go over all of them because there are so many. I'm just going to mention my 2 favorites. So let me switch to screen share here so I can show you what's going on. Alrighty, so my first one is Unsplash. I absolutely love their photos. They post 10 new photos every 10 days, so they always have new content. They have fantastic high quality photos. If you click on one, it opens up so that way you can make it even larger, I mean large, and then you could save that image to your desktop or whatever. The nice thing about Unsplash is that you can change how you view the images. These are all their featured images, or you can view just all of them, and they have hundreds of them. You can also search for some. There's some different subject ideas down here, so if you are looking for something specific, you can do that. But I absolutely love their photos, and you can click here on free, do whatever you want, and it tells you about the licensing and what you're allowed to do. Okay, so the second site that I use, of course it won't load, it is called Death to the Stock Photo. And basically what you do is you sign up with your email, and every week you get seven stock photos delivered directly to your email. Why is it not loading? Okay. Well, I promise that sometimes it works because I definitely signed up. But these are my two favorite. You get the most out of them. I will go ahead and post these in the chat box right now. And maybe it's just my internet connection, but that Death to the Stock Photo, you can also Google it and it should come up. I'm not sure why it's not loading here. Okay, so those are my two favorite. You can download them and use them. I use all stock photos on my website for the super large images that you see. So there's a ton of uses for those. And now I want to get into how you can use those. So I think we're going to start with, we'll start with Pixlr, because I think that Pixlr is fantastic for actually editing the photo. So if you want to change the contrast or the colors or crop it, Pixlr is awesome. I know that a lot of people use PicMonkey, and my sister and I were just talking about this the other day. I hate PicMonkey. It's just, I don't know exactly what it is about it. I think it's just so simplified that people use it to create these graphics, and their graphics just are not as good as it could be. And you can use free tools online, like the two of them I'm going to show you, and make your photos 10 times better, and you're still using super simple tools that are easy to use. So I don't like PicMonkey, but to each its own. If I'm suggesting something, I think Pixlr and Canva are the best. So I will give you a little tour of Pixlr here. So this is our site, pixlr.com. When you go in, you just scroll down. It's all fancy. I always use the Pixlr editor. So you want to launch the web app. There is also a desktop app and a pro version of this. I've always used the free one, and it's perfectly fine. So let's just create a new image here. It will ask you what you want to name the image. We'll just do example. Type in with like one hand and a club hand right now. And then you could choose the size and you hit OK. And this opens up a new canvas. If you have a bunch of photos open, you'll see little windows like this here. If you're only working on one image, you can click on this and it'll make that one image larger. And you could scroll in and out with your scroll bar. Okay, so Pixlr is set up very similar to Photoshop. So if you've ever used Photoshop, you probably can use this. I shouldn't say probably. You definitely can use this. If you've never used Photoshop, Pixlr is a great way to kind of get used to the system and the layout of it, and then work your way into Photoshop as you go. So I'm going to quickly go over the tools here in case you don't know what they are, and that way you can kind of see an example. You know what? I'm actually going to open an actual image. We'll use a Periscope image. This way you could see how the editing tools do different things on the image. So down here you can see the percentage of how zoomed in you are. If you double click, you can actually type in there and make it whatever percentage you want. You can also move all these boxes around, so if you need to see a piece that you can't see now, you can scooch things around. So I'm going to move this history way down because we don't really need that. All right, so once again, let me just show you, you can open and close these windows. So if I wanted to switch back to this, I could do that. All right, so this first image is the cropping tool. So if you wanted to crop, like let's say a little chunk of your image, you just drag and drop. Once you do that, you can move it around a little more and then just hit enter and it will crop your image. The little history box here, if you click on the previous step, you could switch back and forth to what you did. You can also use Control Z if you're on a PC. This image is just your regular tool, so this is how you move things around, how you select things and click on stuff. This is kind of your default tool. This one is your selector. So this will either make a rectangle or square, or you can choose additional options up here. So you can make a circle. You can choose different constraints. So if I wanted to make it a fixed size, you can do that. If you're setting it up for, let's say, Instagram, I can set it by 1, and then it will create a perfect square for me, so that way I know that what I'm selecting is a perfect square rather than a rectangle. This lasso tool kind of does the same thing, except for you can really like move it around and get crazy with what you're selecting. You hit delete, that's how you would clear it out. And just so you're aware, this checkered background here means that it's transparent. This is not the actual background. You have your wand selector, so this will select similar colors. You could choose how close the colors are by using the tolerance. So if I wanted all this white area selected, I would move the tolerance up more. Oh, too much. And it will select everything similar to that color in the area. You have your pencil tool, which is just a little line. You have your paintbrush. All of these you can change the colors down here and just move it around. There's a couple different options for color selecting. You have your eraser tool, which you have different tools and options up here as well. Your paint bucket, which uses the same colors as the paintbrush. This is the gradient tool, so you can choose different gradients to use. Let's say if I wanted this pink one, I'm going to create a new layer over here. So these are all your layer tools. You can create a new layer, drag and drop your gradient, and it will add it in over your other layer. And then you can edit your layer tools with this little option here. So you can choose different overlays, I guess. I'm not sure the exact word, what they're called. And then you can also change the opacity of that layer. And if you don't like it, you can just delete it. This is the clone stamping tool. So if you wanted to do some sort of Photoshop, like hide a blemish or something, you want to hit the Alt key. Oh, it's Control click on here. Interesting. Control click, and it will copy that area that you clicked on, and then you can use that to kind of paint over the new area. So you can click from anywhere and just start copying that area. And that's how that works. This is another brush tool. I don't use this one very often because the only time I do use it is on with my actual drawing tool. I have a little drawing canvas thing, I guess. But what it does is matches the lightness of what you choose. So if I was choosing I wanted this really bright, as I go over it, it makes it that same tone, but it keeps the image behind it. This is your shape tool, so you can create squares and you can add borders and things like that. This is to blur your image. This one is to sharpen it. This one is to smudge your image. And then you have a sponge, which basically brightens up the colors that are already there. It makes them more vibrant. Then you have a couple different tools here. This is I think it's called the dodge tool in Photoshop. Yeah, it lightens the colors that you have. So the dodge tool makes it brighter. Then you have the burn tool, which makes it darker. This fixes red eye. So if you had a person's eye and you clicked on the red area, it makes it dark. This is for blemishes. So for example, if we were trying to fix this area here, you just kind of go over the area that's all crazy, and it blends with the nearby image, so that way it softens it. These tools are used to change, if you were like trying to make your waistline thinner, this is the tool that you would use. So this one expands wherever you're clicking, and then the one right next to it indents wherever you're clicking. So if I was going like that, you have your eyedropper tool, so if you need to copy an exact color from the image, it adds it into your little block here. Your text tool, which uses all of the fonts from your actual computer, which is a huge advantage over PicMonkey and over Canva. So if I ever need to add a certain font that those two don't have, I always add it here in Pixlr. You have your grab tool, which is how you can move different images, and then your zoom tool, which again you could just use your scroll bar for. Okay, so that's kind of an overview of the tool area. Basically, what I use this for is actually editing photos. So let me see here. I guess I'll pull up this photo that I used of myself. So this isn't a fantastic photo, but let's say I wanted to make this black and white. This is where I would edit those kind of photo things. So there's different filters and adjustments and colors that you can use. So you can edit the hue and the saturation. The hue changes the actual color, and then the saturation changes how much color there is. So if I want to make it black and white, the saturation will be at -100. If I wanted to look like an Oompa Loompa, I could make it at 100. But this is how you can kind of edit that. You can also edit how bright or dark things are. So if you wanted like a really bright picture, you can do that with low saturation. So that is kind of what I use Pixlr for. When you're done, you can go to File, Save. You can change the name of your file, and you have a couple different options for the format. I almost always save it as a PNG format because it saves it as full quality format and transparent. JPEG is good for most of your photos that you want. Just always move the quality bar all the way up to 100. Okay, so that was a lot. I'm sorry. Pixlr has a bunch of tutorials. There's a lot of people on YouTube who do tutorials on it. So if you need to know how to do a very specific thing, Pixlr is like the way to go. Okay, so I know that Canva for Work is the thing that most of you wanted to actually see in this video. So I'm going to go ahead and go all about that now. Oh, and someone said that the Death to the Stock Photo website hasn't been working for the past 2 days, so that's kind of odd. Hopefully it's just the issue that they're working now. Okay, so Canva originally was just a free website where you could edit photos. And it had a bunch of different options, which I'll kind of show you. But recently they launched Canva for Work, which is basically an upgraded version of Canva. It allows you to work with team members. It allows you to have a couple extra features that are amazing. And it's more geared towards businesses and brands, where Canva just by itself is for maybe smaller bloggers or people who are just editing images for fun. So I'm going to kind of show you the basics of Canva and then show you the added features that they added for Canva for Work and why I think it's 100% worth the subscription fee. So let me switch back over to screen share and we will go into Canva. So keep in mind that I already upgraded to Canva for Work. So this screen will look a little different if you have not done that yet. On the first tab, you're going to see all of your designs. So you'll see all of the photos I've created in Canva so far. At the very top is where you can create a design. You can use custom dimensions. So if you want a very specific size, this is how you would do it. Or you can use one of their pre-made, I guess it's a template, or a pre-made size. They have it broken down into categories. So you have social media posts, documents, marketing materials, all kinds of stuff. They pretty much have everything that a marketer would need. So that is kind of basically what Canva is without the upgrade. when you click on something, it takes you into the editor, which is where you can actually create the image. Canva has some pre-made layouts that you can use. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. So you'll see here in the corner, this one is free. And if you wanted to use that layout, it already comes with the background in there. You can edit the text, you can edit the image, you can edit everything about it, but it's already in this format. So you can actually completely change this. It could look totally different, but you still start out with the same layout. This little Your Designs tab is the new feature with the Canva for Work. So this is awesome because it shows you designs that you've made with this size, this social media size, so that way you can use ones that you've already used before, or if you were going in to edit it. Okay, so let's delete the layout because I'm not going to use that. Over here on the search option, this is where you have most of your options. You can add shapes, grids, frames, icons, all kinds of stuff over here. And the best thing is that you can search for stuff. So if I needed a Facebook icon or like some sort of social media something, when you click on it, it just pops right onto your canvas. You can make it larger or smaller, and then you can also just click and drag it. Whoa, weird. Okay. So you already saw layouts. Text, you can add just basic text, and you'll see when you add it, you can edit the font. Canva has kind of a limited amount of fonts that you can use. I think they're the Google fonts. I might be wrong about that though. You can change the size, the color of the font, and then within here you can also change the style, transparency, the spacing, all that stuff. I love that you can change the letter spacing in Canva because I really like my fonts to be more spaced out, especially with my brand. So this is a really great tool that a lot of other editors don't have. And it's really nice for designers because we're picky people. Okay. Oh, in text, you can also choose some of their preset text things here. You'll see in the corner, if something is paid, it will tell you exactly how much it costs. And when you go to download your final image, if you have paid content on there, it will ask you to pay at that point. I've never even used the paid things because they have enough free stuff and you can get free stock photos, so there's not really a reason to pay for it. Next, you can add backgrounds. These preset colors that you see here are a part of the Canva for Work. You can preset your brand colors so that way they're automatically loaded in here and you don't have to add them or have the color code ready. This is a huge thing that I love about the Canva for Work because I can't even tell you how many times I would have to go back to my site, use my little color picker, and like figure out what the color was because I didn't have it written down somewhere. So this is super, super nice. There's also some backgrounds with different patterns in it. And what I really like about these is that you can add the pattern, and then if you click on the background, you can choose the pattern color. So you're not stuck with that color. You can match it to your brand, or you can just use a plain colored background. All right, under uploads, if you have the free Canva, you're just going to see a list of everything you uploaded. Canva for Work allows you to use folders. One of the folders they added was your logos. So when you upload your logos, it automatically saves them in here so you can quickly access them and add them into your images. I have a couple different folders that really need to be organized, but I even have one folder for stock photos. So all the stock photos that I downloaded and saved, I re-uploaded into Canva, so I have a quick library here, and they're not taking up space on my laptop. Instead, they're all stored in here. So that is one of the awesome things about Canva. All right, so once you're done editing a photo and you have it the way you like it, you can change the title of it. So we'll just name this example. You hit done, and then you can share it, download it as an image or a PDF, or you can share it with your team. If you share it with your team, it'll ask you to rename it, and you can also save it as a template. This is all part of the Canva for Work, so I'm going to show you how to work with this in a few minutes. Another thing I should mention is that this is your undo button, so if you did something stupid, you can undo it. And then up here under File, this is where you can save it. These change dimensions and magic resize are also a part of Canva for Work. Again, I'll show you that in a few minutes. Then if you click on this Canva, it will take you back to this original home screen. Okay, so that's the basics of Canva. Now I'm going to get into Canva for Work and all of the new features. So when you have Canva for Work, you have a new tab up here called Your Brand. You'll be able to see all the templates that you make, and Canva has some preloaded ones. I already deleted them because I wasn't going to use them, but they will be in here. Brand kit is the first thing you'll want to fill out. This is how you can have preset things all ready for you. So you can add your colors. All you have to do is click on the plus. You can either just pick your color from right here or use your color code, the hex code, and add it in there. If you add something that you don't like, you can just delete it, and that is how you add colors. Over here on the fonts, you can edit the style and the size of your font. Downside is you can't add your own fonts to Canva. I hope that they add this feature soon because that would be perfect, but right now you just kind of have to work with what they got. But when you add these in, I'll show you, when you add new text, it automatically styles them to the appropriate headings, which is a huge time saver. And then at the bottom, you can add in all of your logos. You can also add in things like a certain background pattern that you use, or if you have like a banner that you use all the time, you can add it in here. It doesn't have to be just limited to logos. There's another mini tab called Team Members. For $10 a month, you can add a team member, and they can edit, add templates, use your templates, see your photos, and help you out. So this is so good for designers who work with a team, or if you have like an intern or a social media person who does all that stuff. This is a huge help. Then you have your billing tab to work with everything. Okay, so I'm going to show you how templates work. We will go into my social media packages template. This is basically I made a document with all of my social media packages and their prices, but I saved it as a template so that way anytime I make any kind of document, it can be in the same format as this. So there's a lot of pages here. It's going to take a moment to load up. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, I have a bunch of different photos in here, and all the things will load in. There we go. And I can easily change any of this. I can just click and drag, edit any of my photos. It all works extremely well with the editor. I have all of my options over here to edit things. You can copy the page if you would need to add in a new page, but you want it to look exactly the same. You can delete that page if you decide you don't want it. You can reorder it with these arrows here. And then if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can add new pages down at the bottom right here. And that will add a new page with zero formatting, just a completely blank canvas. So there's a couple great ways to make templates. First thing that you want to go to is your grid. If you want one of your pages to have like a background image and you want to make it super simple to add that image, use this single photo grid. You can click and drag it over here, or you can just click. What this does is it adds a temporary photo. So if I upload, or let's say my social media manager comes in here and they upload a stock photo and they want to add it into my workbook, all they have to do is click and drag, and it automatically adds it as a background. Plus, it's super easy to change the photo. So when you click and drag, it uploads that new photo and gets rid of the other one. So that way you can quickly add them without having to delete other layers or anything like that. You can also change the size of the photo, move it around, all that stuff, just in case it's not framed properly. And the best part is that once you frame it, if you wanted to change that photo, the frame stays the same for the new photo. So if you needed that perfect framing, it will stay. It won't like undo your frame. Okay, so once you have some sort of grid or you have a background set up, Then you can add things like shapes. Shapes are great for, let me scroll up and show you, things that look like this. One of my key website branding things is these white squares over an image with text over it. So this is how I do it. This square here is a solid colored square. So this will be one color. You can make it transparent in the options. So if you click on it, you can change the transparency. You can also add a link. So if it's a PDF, you can have this link to something. This square is a square with a border. So you can change both the square and the border color. And as you can see, when I click in on the colors, all of my branded colors are already loaded in here, so I don't have to go searching for them. And then this square is a square that's already transparent. So if you don't want to mess with the transparency, you just want a nice square, you can use this transparent one. This is the same for all of these. So you can edit the transparency of any of them. Some of them have borders, some of them don't. A tricky way to kind of get around borders is just by stacking two shapes. So for example, if I was going to try to make a square with a border, you can copy the shape so it's the same size, make it a tiny bit smaller, and then you can just move it onto your other piece, and then you have a border. And as you can see, Canva will actually add grid lines. So as I line this box up with this box, a little grid line will appear so that way you know when they're aligned. And if you zoom in on the left-hand corner here, the more you zoom, the more accurate that little aligned line will be. So I don't know if you can tell, but this black box is slightly lower than the red box. But when I'm super zoomed in like this, it will align it perfectly, within a couple of pixels. So that's kind of a good way to mess with the stock there. Okay, so when you go into text, whoa, I really zoomed out there. You can see these three text options are the same that I added in my brand. So if I go back to my brand kit here, the first heading is railway size 32. So when I click on this first heading, it's going to be railway size 32. And then I can add whatever branding color I want or just add a new color. It's the same for the subtitle and the body text. So whatever you add here is what these defaults will be. You can still change them, so if you don't want it to match, that's fine. But that's just a quick way to do it. Another great thing is at the very top, you have those same options. So my heading 1 and heading 2 are the same font, so it shows up twice. And then Helvetica is the font for my body text. So those stay at the top where it's super easy to get to. Okay, so I'm going to exit out of this and open up a design to show you how the magic resize works. So we'll open up this one. This was the graphic that I used to advertise this webinar. So I made this a Facebook size. So this is perfect for a Facebook post. It is the perfect size to show up. But I also advertised this on Twitter and on Instagram. So if you go into File and you choose Magic Resize, you're able to choose what other sizes you would like. So let's say I want Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. Those are the default that are already selected, but you can choose any of the pre-formatted sizes that Canva has available. Excuse me. So when you click on Abracadabra Resize, it opens up your new sizes in different tabs. That way you can edit them, save them, and you're not switching back and forth between pages. So they'll take a moment to reload so they can resize for you. And then you will have the perfect size for each of these things. So this is my Pinterest graphic. You can see it kept my background the same. It made it a little larger to fit the full width of the graphic. It added in my text and all my copy at the same size with the same font, and it added in my logo right where it had it. From here, my logo looks a little weird, so I can still edit this as I want and then save it. So it might not be perfect how you want it, but it makes it so much easier to change the size and make it simpler in the process. Let's take a look. So the Instagram post is a perfect square now, and then my Twitter post is nice and long, a nice big rectangle. So the other option besides magic resize, let's say you were making a Facebook post and you realized that you didn't actually want to share on Facebook. You actually wanted to make it for a Facebook app. You can easily change this image to the correct size. So we'll make it into a Facebook app size, and it will quickly resize it to the correct size that you need it. This way, you don't have multiple copies of the same thing. It's all saved into the same file. So on your design, it will stay the same. It won't add 3 new different styles. When you're ready, you can download it as an image and save it to your computer. There's also a couple additional options if you have multiple pages, or if you are publishing it for an ebook or something like that, you can also keep the markings in. Okay, so let's switch back here. That was super long, so thank you for bearing with me there. Okay, so that was kind of the overview of Canva. The reason why I think this is completely worth the money it costs, I think it's $10 or $15 a month, is because when you are like scheduling something for social media and you create a graphic, my puppy's growling at another dog. So let's say you create like a Pinterest graphic. When you create a bunch of different graphics for different social media, you're expanding your reach. And when you can do that super quickly and super easily, it saves you so much time, it expands your reach, and you still have the time you need to actually get your work done. This is awesome if it is some sort of, if you're like a marketing expert, if you're a social media manager, if you are a blogger and you do all that stuff on your own, this is so good for you and such a great option. Someone said it was a bit blurry. I'm sorry, my internet connection has been acting a little funky today. Hopefully you can see it enough to kind of get an idea. Okay, so the very last thing I'm going to show you guys is how to take these images and add it into Squarespace and add SEO content. So that way, if someone was pinning an image from your website to Pinterest, it will autofill that little description for you. So that way, they already have something typed in there. So let me go into screen share. And we will open up, or we can just go straight to my site. Probably should have had this open and ready because it's going to load super slow. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so if you didn't know this, when you go to a Squarespace site, if you click the escape key, it will take you in to log into that site. So it's kind of a quick shortcut to get logged into your website without going through Squarespace. Okay, so if you go into a page where you are going in to add a photo, we'll just go to, this photo here. I don't know why someone would want to pin a photo of me, but when you go in to edit your photo, you'll see that you do not want to display your caption. If you add a caption below and hit save, it's not working. Of course it's not working. Okay, well the first thing that you want to do is add a file name. So I'm going to put Nora Conrad, so that way if someone Googles my name, this photo will show up in Google. It might not show up as the first one, but it will show up. Okay, so we'll just choose caption overlay to make this easier. When you choose to show the caption in some way, it will show up on the left over your photo. This is where you want to type your description. So if I want to say something like Nora Conrad is a VA and Squarespace expert, then choose Do Not Display Caption, hit save. You'll see that it still shows it down here, but your visitors won't see that. So let me save my page here, and we'll just open it up to my normal site. My computer is moving so slow today. This is just not happy. Okay, so you'll see I don't see the caption here. But if I go to pin it to Pinterest, when I open it up, it will automatically add in that caption that I said. And here it is. It says Nora Conrad is the VA and Squarespace expert. This way, when someone goes to pin your image, if they forget to type something, there'll already be a descriptor in there. You can give people a better idea of what you are, who you are, and what you're doing. And that way, people can still edit it, but this way there's always something in your description. Also, if someone ever Googles something like Nora Conrad, when they Google it and when they see this image, this little descriptor will go along with it, so people know who you are. You should always, always, always add the caption, or it's called an SEO description, to your images. It makes it better for search results. Google can't look at pictures and decide what it is. So if you don't have a description, Google ignores your photo. There's no way for Google to know what that picture is, if it's like an infographic, if it's a picture of you, or a picture of a banana. Google doesn't know the difference. So if you have a description in there, then you're telling Google what it is, and they can properly categorize it and add it into their search results. Alrighty, so I think that is everything. Someone said, did you create your own website in Squarespace? Yes, I did. I used WordPress for 5 years, and then I tested out Squarespace, and I hated it, and then I tested it out again like 3 months later, and I loved it. So I switched to Squarespace, and I will never go back. WordPress is great, but it is just too complicated, too hard. I don't like it. It's just a lot to upkeep and a lot to update on the regular, where Squarespace is nice and simple. You don't have to upgrade or update anything. It's just much, much easier and less time consuming. Okay, so I think I lost most of you because that was incredibly long. I'm sorry. But if you guys have any questions, ask me now in the chat. Even if it's not about photos or images, just ask me anything. I'll start answering some of them. If you guys are interested, I do have a blog post all about images and kind of going in depth about why graphics are important. So I will post the links to that right now in the sidebar. Okay, let's see. I have to find it. I probably should have pulled this up before, but that's okay. Woo. Okay. So I know there's a pretty big delay, but if you guys have any questions, just ask away. If you're watching the recording of this and you have like a question that needs to be answered, you can either shoot me an email, hello@noraconrad.com, or you can just visit my site and contact me on there. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. I'm totally going to butcher this. Astrisha? I'm so sorry. I probably just completely butchered it. She asked if I have Squarespace tutorials, and I do. I have a ton. I will post a link to my full Squarespace post over in the chat box. I also have Squarespace services, so if you're interested in not doing it yourself and you want a website built in Squarespace, I can help you do that too. I will link to the blog post, and then if you're interested while you're there, I have all my Squarespace services listed on my Work With Me page as well. And I love me some Squarespace. Whoa, okay, there we go. Okay. And I think that's pretty much it. She said LOL. I think I completely ruined her name. I'm so sorry. I'm so bad with names. It's embarrassing. I'm so bad. Like, it doesn't matter if your name is like some cultural name or if it's just a really easy American name. I will butcher it for you. So, Ashrika? Oh, that makes sense. Sorry. You guys, I'm so sorry. I probably still said it wrong just now. Alrighty, well, I'm going to wrap this up because I'm about to eat this table. I'm starving and ready for lunch. Thank you guys for watching. This video will be on here until I die or the end of time, I guess. So if you ever need to rewatch it or if you ever have questions, just get in touch. I will post my email over in the sidebar as well. So if you have any additional questions after this video is done, you can always email me. I always answer back in a couple of days. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will talk to you later. Bye.